So yesterday I accidentally discovered that the CIA was heavily involved in producing the vaccines. What a rabbit hole. This one's going to go deep, but I'm going to try to speedrun it as fast and concisely as possible. I was a little confused when this video got completely throttled on such a big account compared to like hundreds of thousands of views, because I had no idea what I had just stumbled across. On X, we were doing work, and Homegirl put me on a thread that is pinned to the top of her profile, and I started double checking all of her work, and it just went from there. So speedrun. Yesterday, Pfizer had a really bad day after a really bad year. Looking into Pfizer's board of directors, Scott Gottlieb led me to this company called Resilience. Also note Illumina, just for a second. And looking into Resilience, oh boy, I was just wondering why the CEO of In-Q-Tel, the CIA's investment asset management group, was on the board of this weird biotechnology company. What I didn't realize is that Resilience partnered with Moderna in 2021. And I made a joke that Whitney Webb probably would already have the scoop on this. And lo and behold, Whitney Webb reported in 2022 on this exact company. And she has done her own dig into the board of directors, and we're going to put it all together right now. But first, let's revisit what Destiny put together in her thread. She pointed out that when you go to usaspending.gov and you look up contracts that Resilience Government Services has had with the government, they're getting funded by our government to the tune of $142 million all the way back in 2013 and $66 million in 2020? But they're also known by 7 other names: Nanosphere, Nanotherapeutics, Ology. But I noticed that this address that they give on this website is not the same as on Resilience's own website. So I double checked us and made sure that Resilient Government Services that's getting these awards is this website. Just to make sure we're all on the same page. Yeah, we're on the same page. When you look up Resilience on Crunchbase, they're being funded by the U.S. International Development Finance Corp., the Department of Defense, Google, Lux Capital. They've apparently raised $2.5 billion. If you look up Nanosphere on Crunchbase, they've been funded by Allen & Company and Bain Capital. But now let's dig into the team at Resilience, starting with Robert Nelson, better known as Bob. Whitney Webb put me on to this article where Bob Nelson is real tight with Luciana Borio. Apparently, it was actually talking to Borio on the phone about her work running the pandemic preparedness at NSC that led to his idea of starting Resilience. And Scott Gottlieb, the guy on Pfizer's board that started this whole investigation, he's also homies with Borio. He tweeted about how great she is. Turns out she is also vice president at In-Q-Tel. Weird. Previously served on the National Security Council, acting chief scientist at the FDA. She's an infectious disease physician who, has ties with Bill and Melinda, the Council on Foreign Relations. And for some reason, Goldman Sachs wants a consultant that is an infectious disease physician. Because, banking and infectious disease physicians are like tight. Then we have Drew Owetting, who is the co-founder of 8VC Capital Partners, which is private equity, co-founded with Joe Lonsdale of the PayPal Mafia. Joe Lonsdale worked with PayPal while he attended Stanford, but more importantly, Joe co-founded Palantir. This Palantir, the one that's pretty much a CIA company designed to network all of our data and give it to these people and these people. So what is that, like 3-4 connections to the intelligence community now? But wait, because we don't want to skip old Bob, who is also on the board of directors, who is an ex-Navy SEAL who served in Vietnam, and according to one of his SEAL team members, Klon, the team rounded up the women and children from the shelters and decided to kill them and get out of there for fear that they would alert enemy soldiers. Obviously, he made that up, though. Kerry responded by saying, "That's not my memory of it," and accused Klon of being jealous of him. So what has he been up to since his time in Vietnam? Well, he was on the 9/11 Commission, and he was a big part of Allen and Company, specifically a managing director at Allen and Company, according to Tenet Health, where he's on the board. Worth noting that the former director of the CIA is also associated with Allen and Company. They are a low-profile banking boutique that has no website. They work on high-profile deals with companies like Google, Twitter, Facebook, Activision, eBay, Verizon, Time Warner. They host the Sun Valley Conference, which is a billionaire retreat every year, where these people go. I'll give you a real screenshot so you can read them if you want to pause, because there's a lot of names on there. So what have we learned so far? We've learned that during Operation Warp Speed, Moderna partnered with this brand new company that was hastily thrown together by all these dudes with ties to intelligence and Pfizer and big banking. Oh yeah, and the ex-CEO of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And they produced all the genetic material for Moderna's vaccines. Thank goodness it intends to reinvent biomanufacturing and democratize access to medicines, namely gene therapies, experimental vaccines, and other medicines of tomorrow. I mean, if you think about it, this makes a lot of sense, and this is exactly what the CIA is supposed to be doing. They're protecting us from bioweapons and from viruses and dangerous things. That this is just the world in 2023. And thank goodness we have all these rich people and their friends to do such a selfless act of service to protect us from dangerous things. I mean, I just hope that they can manufacture the next vaccine to the next big pandemic before that pandemic hits. I'm sure they already have it all figured out. So normal people like you and me, we have nothing to worry about. Thank goodness the experts have it under control. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Remember I told you Illumina would come back up? Well, Francis Arnold is on that board, along with Scott Gottlieb. You know, Francis Arnold and Scott Gottlieb, sort of like Susan Desmond-Hellmann and Scott Gottlieb. You know, like Susan Desmond-Hellmann and Scott Gottlieb. It seems like they all know each other. Weird.